Okay, yesterday we were talking about putting on the kittel before Shkia because you're not allowed to make a bracha on tzitzis after sundown. Also, there's a custom that some people do it every Friday, but even those that don't do it every Friday, the night before Yom Kippur, before you go to shul for Yom Kippur, the father blesses the children. His birchas habanim. In fact, every year, the Rebbe used to come out right before Kol Nidrei with his talis on, his kittel on, and he used to come upstairs. And first it was in the Rebbe's room. Then it went outside the Rebbe's room. Then it went finally inside the upstairs Beis Medrash, because downstairs Beis Medrash was full of people already ready for Kol Nidrei. The Rebbe used to come and say a birchas habanim, a bracha for the bachrim. Only single bachrim were allowed over bar mitzvah. That was really the biggest pushing in 770 was the bracha for the bachrim Erev Yom Kippur. Second was tkiyas. Those were the two biggest. The bachrim, it was a lot of bachrim. The zal upstairs is not that big. It was really, really pushing. The Rebbe would come out. Then, interesting, they would record it. I mean, they would publicize it. It would be, the Rebbe would speak into the mic. But after the Rebbe had passed away and the Rebbe would ben shlicht, so then the Rebbe didn't want to be Mechal Yom Tov anymore, so they stopped taping it. Or not only taping it, they stopped, like this, the show downstairs heard it, guys all around the world heard, no, unless if it wasn't Yom Kippur yet. They would hear it, but anyway, there's an union of the parents blessing their children before going to shul.
Did Rebbe ever play an Elul?
Did the Rebbe pray? Below Shofar? Not publicly, in his room he blew. When he used to daven privately in his room, the Rebbe blew every day. But nobody heard it, I mean, unless you're outside the Rebbe's room, but he didn't. Okay. Until Tavshim Memches, until 1988, when the Rebbetzin passed away, until then, the Rebbe didn't daven Shachris in the minyan. The Rebbe would come out to Shachris a few times a year. Erev Rosh Hashanah, Erev Yom Kippur, Purim, Tisha B'Av, but he didn't daven then. A few times a year, the Rebbe would come out to daven Shachris in the minyan. Yorte, he had Yorte, Chofav, Yud Shvat, yeah.
Did he have his own minyan or did he by himself?
I'm sure he had his own.
No, I mean 10 people?
No, there were not 10 people. Mincha and Ma'ariv, the Rebbe always daven with a minyan, no matter what. Shachris, he didn't. There's a lot of inyanim about that. But in Tavshin Memches, well, in Tavshin Chafhei, when the Rebbe's mother passed away, he came out the whole year to daven for Yomid. He had to say, daven for Yomid, say Kaddish. Huh? You know what? The 12th month, Rebbe stopped Kaddish. You know what? I don't remember. Chafei, I don't remember because I was a kid. I was in yeshiva, but what do we know? Okay. So now, before you put on the kittel, now we learned the custom is to wear a kittel. So you wear your suit or kapot or whatever, you wear a kittel over it, and then you wear the gartel over the kittel. Now, we said yesterday, only married people and the chosin doesn't do it. Okay, fine. We also mentioned that halachically, there's no kedusha in a talis. Just like you can go into the bathroom with your talis katan has no kedusha. A talis gadol also really doesn't have kedusha. So technically, halacha says you would be allowed to go into a bathroom with the talis. The reason why we don't, it says in Shulchan Aruch, because it's designated only for davening. When do you wear a talis? A talis you wear by davening. See, because it's a garment designated for davening, so therefore you don't want to go into the bathroom with it. Not because the talis itself is holy, because the talis cotton is the same thing and it's not holy. Based on that reason, that's why the minig is, Chassidim don't go in, if you wear a gartel, you don't go into the bathroom wearing a gartel. But if a person wears a gartel a whole day, like over his talis cotton or whatever, so then you could go into the bathroom with it because it's not designated for davening. The same thing, the kittel on Yom Kippur, you wear only during davening, basically. So therefore, the custom is not the gartel, not the talis, not the kittel you go into the bathroom with. But when you come out of the bathroom, you don't have to make a new bracha on the talis. We're going off a second. If somebody goes into the bathroom and comes wearing tefillin, okay, so you take off the tefillin, you go into the restroom. When you come out of the restroom, you have to make a new bracha on the tefillin. But that's what it says in Shulchan Aruch. No, 1 second. Well, 1 second. If you go into the bathroom, you take off your talis, you put the talis back on, so then you don't make a bracha. Only if it's 2 or 3 hours later. Okay? Now, which means as follows. What's the reason behind the logic? Tefillin, you're not allowed to wear in the bathroom. So therefore, if you're not allowed to wear tefillin in the bathroom, you can't wear it. If you can't wear it, so then when you put it on, it's a new beginning. Because there was a break where you weren't allowed to wear tefillin. Technically, like we just explained, talis you could wear in the bathroom. There's no kedusha in it. So therefore, if somebody takes off the talis before going into the bathroom, unless it's there for 2 or 3 hours, so then you don't have to make a new bracha.
Even if you don't want,
some people want to say that if for it's called gedalim, to move, bowel movement, you would have to make a bracha for urinating, not, but the halacha is the way we hold, even for tanim, you have to make a new bracha when you come out of the bathroom and you re-put your tefillin. Huh?
but not for the
We're not learning the of talis now. Okay, I'll connect it. It happens in Yom Kippur. If a talis, okay, I'll tell you the din, because it's practical a lot on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. It's practical every Shabbos, it's practical every day. If you take off your talis with the intent of putting it back, you don't make a bracha. I'll tell you an example what you would make a bracha. Sometimes Rosh Chodesh, before Musaf, you put on your Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. So many people who are somewhere else, so they take off the tefillin, and subconsciously they take off the talis. Right? When they talk about before they daven Musaf, they take off the talis by mistake. Because you willingly took off the talis, and when you took it off, you didn't think about putting it back on because you didn't think about Musaf. So then if you put it back on for Musaf, you're going to have to make another bracha. Because when you took it off, your intent was not to put it back on. Okay, now, in Shulchan Aruch it says, if a talis falls off completely, Shulchan Aruch it says that then when you put it back on, because when it fell off you didn't have kavanah that it's falling off, so then in Shulchan Aruch it says that you have to make a new bracha. The Pearl poskim right, and that's the way we hold, that if somebody is wearing a talis cotton and the talis falls off, completely falls off, and you didn't realize that it fell off, because you're still wearing a talis cotton, you don't have to make a new bracha on the talis. But if somebody is not wearing a talis cotton for whatever reason, and a talis just falls off, and somebody just comes over to you and pulls off your talis, then halachically you have to make a new bracha.
Why does the talis cotton save it?
Because you're wearing the mitzvah tzitzis.
Yeah, if you put on a talis, you also make another bracha.
Because here you didn't willingly take it off. Here you willingly took it off, like before Musaf, Rosh Chodesh, yeah? I willingly took it off. It was actively taking it off, here it fell off. So in Shchuach it says itself, because it fell off, then you have to make a new bracha. But the pearl the minig is that if you're wearing talis cotton, then you don't. Then you have to make a new bracha. Okay, next. Okay, Kol Nidrei, in many poskim hold, that it says really in Shulchan Aruch that Kol Nidrei you're supposed to do before Shkia. Why? Because you don't nullify vows. Kol Nidrei is nullification of the vows for the future year. But the pearl our minig is we're not makpid in it, and the Rebbe would come out after Shkia also and daven Kol Nidrei. So we're not makpid, dafka should be before Shkia. We do it after Shkia also. There was once a story in 770, a very interesting story. The night of Yom Kippur, there was a Yid, his name from Eretz Yisrael, his name was Rabbi Shmayo Gerari. part of the Gerari family. So he used to every year buy the right to bring the Rebbe the Sefer Torah for Kol Nidrei. It says in halacha it's a big schus to buy the first Sefer Torah for Kol Nidrei. So he used to buy with heavy bucks. He used to buy the first year, every year the schus, the Rebbe had a little Sefer Torah that he held by Kol Nidrei next to the Chazan. So he would have the schus, he bought it and he would give the Rebbe the Sefer Torah every year. 1 year before that, and the Rebbe would always give him a bracha for
Doing it again.
do it again. The last year before, one time the Rebbe didn't give him a clear bracha for this. Anyway, he was a little nervous. Anyway, the next Kol Nidrei came. He was about to bring the Sefer Torah to the Rebbe. There's already, the full shul is packed. Packed by the Rebbe. Kol Nidrei was packed. And he had a heart attack. And he died right in front of the Rebbe in 770, right before Kol Nidrei. So, right, it became a tumult. The Rebbe said, Stam is halachic issue. The Rebbe said the Rabbonim should not pronounce him dead until all the Kohanim get out of shul. Because the Kohen can be in the same room with a dead body. So until Torah paskins he's dead, he's not dead. So the Rebbe said the Rabbonim and the doctors should not say that he died yet. Apparently he did die. Anyway, so Rabbi Yosef Shusterman, he's known as Partisan, he said, when that happened, he used to come every year to Tishrei to Rebbe, was very chassid. So he said, for Shmerel Gerari, he had to die in 770 by the Rebbe. For me, he said, for me it's good enough to die in the courtyard of 770. That's what he said. That year, and he said, a few years later, the Zusha Velamovsky passed away in 770 in the Sukkah and Sukkot. So he said, he needed, Shmuel Garabi is a great guy, he needed to die in 770. For me, it's good enough to die in the courtyard of 770. Anyway, that's the story. So, he was related, not to the Shag, he was a cousin. Shmuel Gerari was Nosson Gerari's father. You know Yechon Gerari in Chulon? He's his grandfather. His father's Nosson, is his grandfather. His grandfather. Anyway, okay. So now we say 9 Kapitel Chavtilim. First we do Vidui. If you have time, you do Vidi privately. Then you have 9 Kapitel Chavtilim before Kol Nidrei. The Chazan says Kol Nidrei. And you have 3 people around the Chazan with a Sefer Torah. And the Chazan says Kol Nidrei. And basically what he's doing is he's giving permission. Dasa Mokama, Dasa Kola, B'Yeshiva Shamayla, Yeshiva Shamata, Anu Matin Municipal Ima Avirayonim. He says with this Bais Din, we're giving permission to daven with the sinners. Because any fasting, Gemara says, that doesn't include the sinners is not a fast. And that's, by the way, the main part of Kol Nidrei. Is that 2-liner that the Chazan says quietly 3 times. Our meaning is to say quietly 3 times, that only the Bais Din hears it, that we have permission to daven with the sinners. Okay, after Kol Nidrei, they make the Shechianu. We said the women that made Shechianu and candle lighting don't make it again. Ma'ariv, when you say Baruch Shem Kved Malchus Le'Elvod, you say it out loud. Because on Kol Nidrei, we're like angels. Why do we say Baruch Shem quietly? One of the reasons is because Moshe Rabbeinu went up in Har Sinai, he stole it from the angels. So you don't publicize stolen goods. So the whole year we say it quietly, but in Yom Kippur we're like angels. So just like the angels say, we can also say it out loud. And then you have the davening. Now it's an interesting thing. The Rebbe instituted. There was a Rebbe's Chiddush. And the first year, the Rebbe went over to the Yom and started saying Tillim. And the thing that we say the whole Tillim after Kol Nidrei night, after davening is over, we stay in Shul, we say the whole Tillim. That was the Rebbe's Chiddush. It was not done before that. Beginning of the Siyas. In fact, the first time the Rebbe went back over the Yom and said Tillim. First time he did it. He wouldn't do it with the Friyad Rebbe, but he did it first year. that he was Rebbe. The Rebbe went over to the Yom and said Tillim. As a Chazan, yeah. Okay. It's the 4 Kapitlach of Tillim, whatever, you say the 9 Kapitlach. Okay, let's leave it. Machat Shinus Meisem Mechabev Mayin Kim Shabla Gal Teda Bachanam Nakashe Mer. That's the Baruch